Hi there YouTube, Chad here, and I want to thank you for watching this video. When I was down in Missouri this past summer with my cousin in the ICU dying, we needed to make a supply run. So my family had to run to Walmart and a couple other places, get some food, snacks, change of clothes, all that. And we had to run a couple other places. While running to those other places, while my family was in one place, I ran over to a Lifeway that was going out of business, and I was able to pick this up for 75% off. It is the Holman CSB Super Giant Print Reference Bible, and I had to get it in the brown LeatherTouch. That's all they had, which is a good quality cover. I just wish they had some other colors available. But anyways, check out what this says. Okay. The CSB Supergiant Print Reference Bible features easy-to-read 16-point type and is perfect for devotional reading, personal study, or to carry and use at church. The Supergiant type makes this Bible easy to read for those who have diminished or impaired vision. The CSB Supergiant Print Reference Bible features the highly reliable, highly readable text of the Christian Standard Bible, CSB, which stays as literal as possible to the Bible's original meaning without sacrificing clarity. The CSB's optimal blend of accuracy and readability makes Scripture more moving, more memorable, and more motivating to read and share with others. Now here's a list of the features: Smyth's own binding, presentation page, 2-column text, end of paragraph cross-references, topical subheadings, words of Christ in red, 16-point type, concordance, full color maps. This is the actual text size, and you can see compared to my finger, my index finger here, it's a pretty big font. Check out the barcode so you can see exactly what it is here. The ISBN number, and there you can see retail price $39.99. Also, this is printed in China, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So there you go. And here's the Bible. This thing is monstrous. I mean, look at how big this is. I mean, this is the size of a study Bible. And there you can see on the spine, Holy Bible, Christian Standard Bible, Holman. And of course it has that favorite debossed cross and the debossed tooling marks around the perimeter. This is not perimeter stitched, and on the back you have more of the tooling marks. Now when you open this up, of course it is a paste down liner. There you can see the corner work that's on it, and with this cardstock liner I already know that I will have to probably glue down the corners shortly. Opening it right up, it takes you to excuse me, a matte cardstock presentation page, which I think is just perfect. I think all presentation pages should be a matte cardstock, not glossy. At the bottom here you have a Bible verse along with the CSB logo as a watermark. So it's done just very basic, very simple, and very easy. Now, going into your copyright page, of course there is your standard copyright, and there is the ISBN number of all the editions of this Bible. Now it says here printed in China, and you see where it says RRD. That means this was printed by the R&R Donnelly publisher. And R&R Donnelly makes amazing quality Bibles. So then you get into your table of contents, and of course it's going to show where every book of the Old and New Testament are, additional material, the introduction or preface to the CSB, abbreviations in the CSB, where to turn, so you know where to look if you're feeling depressed, stuff like that. You have a standard tables of weights and measures. Here's something I really like, a topical concordance. With all these modern Bible versions coming out, it can be pretty hard to get a Strong's Concordance because they take a while to make, and they're just really, you know, with all these new Bible translations coming out, it takes a lot to make those. So, you know, having a topical concordance makes a lot more sense to me than something like a miniature Strong's or Cruden's or whatever. And then you have a section on titles of Jesus. So I'll show that here in a minute, but let's go ahead and press on. Here's your preface. And history of the CSB. And in case you're wondering, the CSB is a revision of the HCSB, the Holman Christian Standard Bible. Now, the church I was going to, the pastor used and recommended the HCSB, so I got one. It was something he read out of. I got one just to follow along. And I tell you what, in my own personal studies and everything, I found some places in the HCSB where they were very deliberately changing the wording, kind of, in order to read in doctrines or make the text better support doctrines you find in the Southern Baptist Convention. I was so offended I gave that Bible away, when really I should have just kept it for reference purposes, so I had to buy another one. But that's okay. So now here we are in Genesis, and as you can see, the font, the ghosting is actually really not that bad in this. I'd say it's probably about 30 to 40% worse on the camera than it is in real life, than it is actually looking at it. The font is very crisp, nice and dark, and this is, in fact, line matched, which really helps it. It really helps it to be more readable, and the ghosting, like I said, is not as bad as what you're seeing in this. And you can see this truly is a giant print. I mean, if you compare that to my finger, you know, that's pretty big, 16-point font. So this is going to be, if you have a standard Thompson Chain Reference Bible or a regular size ultra thin, this is going to be twice as large as that size font. And of course you can see it does have end of paragraph references, because this is not verse by verse, this is in a paragraph format. So of course you'll see here that the second verse starts in the middle of a section, third verse, fourth verse, fifth verse, and then the sixth verse starts a new paragraph, and at the end of the fifth verse there's 3 cross references. So, you know, that's pretty neat. And at the bottom of the page you do have translation notes, which is nice. Now, I am glad the CSB is out, because they did remove some of the biases in the wording that was found in the HCSB. Of course, for years, the joke about the HCSB was that the abbreviation stands for Hardcore Southern Baptist. because being produced by Holman, Holman is owned by the Southern Baptist Convention. And, you know, people joked around about that, but I actually found it to be very true. I mean, it had a Southern Baptist slant to it. So that would prevent me from recommending it or using it in any other church or any other setting. So here we go into the Psalms, and I'll just flip through some of this stuff randomly for you. And this does have one ribbon marker. See if I can pull that out. Or you know what, I'll just try to access it. There we go. And I'm still in the Psalms. So the ribbon marker on this is like a copper-toned brown. It is a double satin ribbon, but it is not one of the nice wide ones. This is just your standard, more narrow ribbon. And let me zoom out of this. But as you can see here in Psalms, there is line matching. Back to what I was saying, the HCSB, because some of the biases, and some were very, very subtle, it would prevent me from recommending it. It would prevent me from recommending it anywhere outside of a typical Baptist church or even a Reformed church. I do like a lot of the wording of the HCSB, which I wish they would have retained in this in the Old Testament, but they did not. And here you can see the signatures. So this is definitely Smith or Smythe Sewn. It's actually pronounced Smythe Sewn. I found out. I just bit my tongue. It is pronounced Smythe Sewn, and this is Smythe Sewn, so it's going to last a good long time. The paper is an off-white. Now, the light bulb I have here is for warm lighting, because that's all they had. So the paper kind of looks cream-colored, and really it's just an off-white toward a cream color. So the lighting really brings out the lighting really brings out that cream tone. So this is actually a fairly opaque paper. Like I said, the ghosting is not bad on this at all. And because of the off-white color of the paper, this is actually a joy to read. And because of the huge size of the font, it is just spectacular if you want to sit and read for long periods of time, or you don't want to hold your Bible up close to you, you want to set it on a table. I mean, it's just fantastic. Get into the New Testament here. Okay. So, this is a real basic Bible. Excellent for reading, very light studying, and it goes right from Malachi to the New Testament. No book introductions, which I always like book introductions. But there you can see, you know, it does have subject headings, the end of paragraph references. It is verse by verse for the genealogies there in Matthew. And when we get to that red letter, for me, this is my favorite part of the Holman Bibles. Here you can see Old Testament prophecy is in bold, while the regular text is in a standard font. But I tell you what, this Holman red, it's not showing it as much on this camera, but this Holman red is a little darker than what you're seeing. Not much, but just a little bit. The gutter, the words are not swallowed into the gutter. They run real close to the gutter, though. I'll see if I can get it pretty accurate. But that's not really a problem. It's not like the gutter is really swallowing the text at all. Let's see here. Let me zoom out. There we go. And there's not really a whole lot to talk about with this. I mean, it's a 16-point font. So if you know a person whose eyesight is going, or if you know someone who has a hard time reading, maybe a child, this would be an excellent choice for them. It really would be. It is a dynamic equivalence translation, which is not ideal for studying. And even though this is a reference Bible, it does not have a lot of references. Like right here, you can see where at the death of Christ in Matthew 27:46, it says, about 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is, my God, why have you abandoned me? Now, unfortunately, there is no cross-reference there. And he's quoting from the Psalms, if I'm not mistaken. But then you do see where at the very end there's a little K. So if you go down here for verse 46, okay, there it is. Some manuscripts read Lama, other manuscripts read Lima. Nice. So there's an example of your translator's footnotes. And then flip over, whoops. There you go in Revelation, the end of Matthew. No book introductions, just straight into the Gospel of Mark. I'm going to try something different here. Then you flip forward. There's John. There's something else I wanted to show you. Oops. And as you can see here, I've not really been through this one a whole lot. In fact, when I got back from Missouri, there was a CSB waiting for me. One I had requested. It was a free review copy from Holman, available for ministers. Okay, here you get into Revelation, and it is red letter all the way through Revelation, which is nice to have. Originally, when red letter Bibles first came out, the only red letters were the words of Christ while he was on earth. So you get to something like here in Revelation, and this would all be black text. So, but anyway, here's that where to turn section. So, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, when you are blue, when tempted to do wrong. And it tells you not just the scripture reference, but the page number, which is really nice. So this would be an excellent Bible to give to a new believer, an unbeliever. Excellent. You have your table of weights and measures. And that where to turn to section is actually pretty decent. It's about 2 1/8 of a page. So not super exhaustive, but pretty decent. Table of weights and measures. Let me adjust my screen. There we go. Your topical concordance. So here, instead of having keywords where you can look up a keyword, it's looking up topics, which honestly I think would be better than trying to find or having them make a new concordance. This would be a little bit easier. So like right here, you'll see, ability, abstinence, acceptance, afflictions, and it goes through. That starts on page 1920, and this section goes through, got a message, goes through to page 1938. So that's 18 pages, 19 pages, yeah. 19 pages of topics. So that's, whoops, no, wait a minute, I'm sorry, that's Titles of Jesus. Okay, so it stops at page 1935. So that means, see, I can't remember what page I just said. Table of weights and measures. Okay, so page 1920 to 1935, that would be 15 and a half pages of these topical things, and it shows you different things. And just to anger some of my viewers, here's a nice little section on the Trinity. Reference to the Trinity in Romans 8:9, 1 Corinthians 12, 3 through 6, Ephesians 4, 4 through 6, 2 Thessalonians 2:13 through 14. It just says Timothy 3, 4 through 6. I don't know if that's 1st or 2nd Timothy. 1 Peter 1:2, Jude 20 and 21. Evident at Jesus' baptism. Let's see here. To be baptized in the name of, and also Trinity is an apostolic benediction. So of course there you see, actually no, that's not Timothy, that'd be Titus, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think that'd be Titus, not Timothy. Excuse me, it is late and I am tired. Then you get into this section, which is kind of neat, the titles of Jesus. And that starts on page 9. That's 1, 2, that's basically 3 pages. Then you get into your map section, and this is cardstock, and this is not glossy. This is a nice matte cardstock map section. So I really like that. It looks like it almost has a gloss to it. I think that's just from the paint, maybe, or the ink, I mean. But it is a matte finish, which is a lot nicer. And then you just have your brown cardstock end sheet. So, yeah, there's my look at, walk through, review of the CSB Supergiant Print Reference Bible. I think this thing is lacking. Excuse me. It's a good Bible. Strong points. Smythe sewn, line matched. Excellent darkness of the ink. Excellent paper quality. Ghosting is there, but it's at a minimal. So that's excellent. Easy to read, very large print at 16 point font. So weak points, they skimped on the references. I mean, there's very few references. They could have made the topical concordance quite a bit longer, at least 4 or 5 pages longer probably would have been nice. But yeah, I would have liked to also see book introduction in this. You know, that just gives you a brief introduction of what you're going to be reading in the book. But they didn't do that, so it is what it is. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Who for? People who just want to read the Bible. That's what this is for. This is primarily just a good Bible. If you want to sit down and just read through it and get the gist of what it's saying, this is excellent. I wouldn't, because it is a dynamic equivalency, which is more of a thought for thought type of translation, I would not use this for study. But yeah, this is a decent translation. Like I said, a lot of people are missing the 1984 NIV because they revised it in 2011. So the NIV you get today is always going to be the 2011 NIV. And they've made it more gender neutral, more liberal in several places. And this Holman CSB is kind of like a return to the 1984 NIV. So, yeah, not a fan of dynamic equivalence translations. I'll use them in certain times, but, you know, this would be an excellent starter Bible for someone. Anyway, till next time, this is Chad, and I just want to say thank you for watching. I will go ahead and try to remember to drop links to this for Christian book distributors and also Amazon in the description. If you have questions or comments, drop them down below. Till next time, I'll see you later. I love you, and God bless.